So, wanted to talk a little bit about sort of the sort of the ideas around this improvisational framework I have for a Lucinda Williams song. It's called "Fruits of My Labor." So when I'm playing something like that, what am I thinking? What am I doing? Well, the truth is, I'm not thinking anything. But the reason is because priorly I've put in a lot of thought and a lot of practice into some really simple concepts. The first one is inversions. Everyone knows an F bar chord. What fewer people may know is how to play an inversion of that chord. Now, an inversion is a pretty simple concept. Think about when you invert roles in society, right? Like if you inverted a family, the kids would be making the money and providing for resources and opportunities for the parents. And the parents would be taking advantage of those resources and sort of living a life where their inner world is being cultivated, right? Or you can make it even smaller, right? If you take the traditional family unit and you invert like the man being the salary maker and the woman being the homemaker, you could invert that, and then the woman would be the salary maker and the man would be the homemaker or salary earner, whatever. You get the idea. In music, inversions are pretty similar. A chord is a lot of the times only 3 notes. Sometimes it's repeated, like we've got an F here, we've got an F here, we've got an F here. So when you play an F chord, there's actually 3 F notes in it. Now, if you know even a basic bit about theory, you'll know that F, A, and C are the 3 notes minimum required to make up an F chord. So if you've got your bar chord here, and you want to play an inversion of that, go up 2 whole steps, right? So your F, G, A. You'll have this finger right here, your middle finger on the 5th fret of the E string. Use that to mute the A string. We don't really need the A string here. First finger goes on the 3rd fret of the D string, and your ring finger goes on the 5th fret of your G string. So you got 5, A string muted, 3, 5. And if you want to get fancy, you can add your pinky up here on the 6th fret of the B string. This is an F. Getting used to going between this F and this F is super useful. And I'm making my guitar feel more like a piano by playing finger style. When you think about it, if you're playing with a pick, even if you're playing a chord pretty quickly, you're still technically arpeggiating, by which I mean playing through each note of the chord one by one. It gives it a different feel than if you're able to pluck them all at once, right? Simultaneously. Whoops. So first things first is I learn this F, this F. There's another one that's based off of the idea that if you put a capo on the 5th fret and you made a C shape, that would also be an F. Sorry, an F. Whew, long day. That would also be an F. So if you're just on your inner strings, right, you're not worrying about either E string. You got the 8th fret, the 7th fret, the 5th fret, and the 6th fret, right? But if you wanted to, you could add, you know, if this is your F, you could add the 5th down here, and then you could get rid of that B string in exchange for the low E string down here. Then you'd have 8, 8, 7, 5, right? Another F would be this one. That's 8, mute, 7, 10, right? Or of course there's the bar chord one up here. So you have a couple options. That's a lot of Fs, right? And you can do a similar sort of thing for B flat. Here's a B flat. Here's a B flat that's based off of the idea that if you put a capo on the 3rd fret and made a G shape, you would be simulating that to an extent. So it's 6, 5, 3, 3, 3. We just don't really worry about this top E string. You've also, of course, got this B flat. And if you follow this principle of starting with your root note and going up 2 whole notes, sorry, 2 whole steps, to play a chord like this, you could take that same concept and you could apply it to this B flat right here. Right? So this is the basic groundwork for improvising around this. The next thing that you need to do is figure out constellation notes. This is sort of a phrase I heard used for notes that maybe not be in the chord shape, but could be added to it very easily with your leftover fingers. Right? Like there I'm adding the 3rd fret on these last 2 strings to my C chord. So you got to figure out what those are. For each of your shapes. And just for a quick shortcut, when you're doing this version of a B flat, you can hammer on at the 5th fret on either the A, D, or G strings. So that's a ton of space, right? Now another good thing to know is just your F major scale, right? I realize that I'm going kind of fast here, but this lesson is more of sort of a touchstone. It's not for people who know nothing about theory. It's for people who have a bit of an idea how the guitar works. So when I'm improvising, I mean, a lot of it comes down to trying to use my thumb and treat it like a bass, using my middle fingers and maybe treating it more like a piano, or in some cases a guitar, and then using some combination of my fingers to put little riffs here and there. Right? And it's just a process of trial and error, figuring things out. There's certain moves I've learned across the world, like that move where you start with this F. What you do is you take these 3 fingers, you move each of them down a half step. Then, this here is just a G minor. I'm just not plucking my A string. So, and then all fingers, but this finger comes down a half step. Right, and I'm only really here playing my D, G, and B string, and then my E string. So you go, ba, everything down a half step except for your first finger, and then bar it, and then a C, and then you can land on the B flat. And then there's a couple other things, like once you learn how to play your Major scale, just one note at a time. You could learn it in intervals. Or like, ooh, here I'm just guessing. Let's see. There we go. So that's helpful to kind of move things around. Right, you can use that to kind of improvise within the structure. But really it's about knowing where I'm starting and where I'm trying to go, and then finding cool ways to end up there. And then when you make a mistake like that, you just find your way. Because I know where I'm trying to go, I can find my way there. But anyways, I hope some of these ideas make sense. This is just sort of a meandering, it's, I don't know what time it is here, 10 o'clock or something. Long day of teaching, but I felt inspired by a lot of lessons that had to deal with this sort of stuff today. So I thought I'd put something like this out there. So may the spirit of Beale Evans be with you. And, go buy a Telecaster, and I'll catch y'all on the flip side.